Hi, this is Steve Dalton from AgVantage Commodities based in Narrabri. For some of you, you'll be receiving communication from us for the first time in a long time, and for others, you'll be receiving this video and communication from AgVantage for the first time. So I thought it would be valuable to put a short video together just to introduce AgVantage, reconnect with you and let you know that we are still around and we are very much active in the market and looking forward to a big harvest, which we've all been waiting for many years. I'd just like to start by saying AgVantage Commodities started back in 2008, and we've been running a broadacre cropping brokering service since 2008. Obviously, the last number of years have been very dry here in northern New South Wales, and that's resulted in really a lack of communication from us. But now things are improving. We're certainly ramping up. We've been working hard on developing and implementing some new systems in our business, which we hope will make things easier to transact and interact with AgVantage Commodities. So first of all, I'd like to just quickly run over a few markets. Obviously, many of you would have noticed that we've seen a strong move in most of our grain, pulse, oilseed markets in the last number of weeks. And that's largely been on the back of the demand side, which is obviously very pleasant for us to see coming into our harvest period. It's not that common that we'll see prices increase as we move into harvest. And that's really on the back of supply concerns out of Russia, that Ukraine, southwestern Russia area of the Black Sea, which has become a major competitor or an exporter of wheat in recent years. Also some dry conditions in the US and some very strong demand coming out of China for the likes of corn and soybeans, which has helped pull wheat along. Lack of local grower selling here also has contributed to stronger markets and stronger prices around the country. And we're now seeing APW grades across Australia-wide well and truly above that $300 mark, which is great to see coming into harvest. Moving on to barley. Barley's a bit of a poor cousin, and I think barley's very much undervalued. Obviously, with China out of the market at the moment for Australian barley, that's having a big impact on that market. But having said that, where we're seeing wheat delivered Darling Downs at the moment for January, around that 315 delivered, and traditionally barley's priced at a 6% discount. So that should make barley prices around that 290, early 290s, and we're currently seeing barley in the mid 250s. So I think barley's undervalued. And if I was going to hold on to any grain at the moment, it would be barley. Obviously, keep in mind that we don't know what size sorghum crop we're going to go into at this stage, and obviously China is still out of the barley market. So there are some risks there, but from a value point of view, I would say barley's undervalued and too cheap relative to where wheat is. So you'd either expect wheat to have to come down or barley to come up. And my advice would be that I believe wheat is not going to come down or not going to come down significantly. Therefore, barley needs to increase in value. Just quickly on that, while we're talking about feed grains, if we started to look at sorghum, sorghum's a grain that's strongly overvalued at just over 300 delivered downs now. If you look at the relativity to wheat, sorghum should be traditionally around that 16% discount to wheat. So if we're looking at wheat at a 310, 315 downs for January, March, April sorghum should really be around that 260. And so we're currently seeing sorghum at very strong levels, and that's largely due to Chinese demand. So if China was to remove itself from the export market or purchasing Australian sorghum, that really does paint a bleak picture for sorghum prices, in the sense that the consumer's not using sorghum. The consumer's generally using, the domestic consumer that is largely using barley with some wheat and certainly not using sorghum. So for sorghum to work its way into the ration, if wheat was to stay consistently around where it is, I would see sorghum values delivered downs on a delivered downs equivalent having to come back to around that 260. So for people that are in a position to do something with sorghum, sorghum's the one to be selling, possibly hold barley and wheat. Well, there's a lot of demand for wheat at the moment, and there's very important news coming out of the USDA tonight that we will receive tomorrow our time whether USDA revises their yield estimates. And if yield estimates come in better than expected, that might put some pressure on the markets, because the funds, the managed money, are very long, especially corn and soybean contracts, and building their positions in wheat. So if we saw them exit those positions, that could see a sell-off in those markets. But I still think the demand picture is stronger, and we're going to see prices continue to increase from here. So for those that haven't sold or have plenty of grain left to sell, I think better days and better pricing are ahead of us, not behind us. Obviously, it is something to keep watching, of course, and I'd strongly encourage you to do that. You're receiving this text message, and obviously if you're not wanting to receive our text messages going forward, you can opt out by replying to this message with stop, or if you'd like me to contact you, you can reply to this message by typing in help, HELP. So look, I'll wrap up there. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to dealing with you this coming harvest. Please don't hesitate to call us on 6792 2962.